Welcome to Yacht Femme, where we talk about the women that make the yachting industry. I'm your host, Andrea Tagliaferro. Learn who they are, how they got into yachting, and what they do today. Meet Melissa Lawton, Chief Content Officer at SailGP, a global racing league featuring cutting-edge F50 foiling catamarans. She leads strategy across broadcast, digital, and social, delivering 14 races across 4 continents each season. With a background in live sports, music, and entertainment, she's helped produce content that's reached over 90 million views. Known for integrating AI and data into live production, Melissa is reshaping how fans experience sailing. In this episode, she shares how SailGP is making elite racing more exciting, inclusive, and globally accessible. Melissa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the invite. I'm really interested in the rest of this conversation on yachting and yacht farm.
I'm so interested for everyone here to hear your backstory. I love when people also come not necessarily from yachting, nothing wrong with people that were born into the industry, but it's so interesting when people have gone through other sectors, perfected their craft, and then they were roped into the yachting industry or sailing, and it's sort of like, okay, this is kind of new. It's there's a big contrast there. So before I keep going down that path, let's have Melissa explain to us. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how do you get into SailGP?
So I'm the Chief Content Officer. So I run a department that is made up of sort of 5 pillars. One pillar being the broadcast for SailGP. Another really big pillar for us is the social. We do all the social channels for SailGP. We have a content team, very, very good content team. They make everything that fills the broadcast and social media. We also have production. Production is the logistics, operations, budgets, general movements, and making things happen for, again, those 3 groups. And distribution, the team that push it all out to the right channels so you can watch SailGP wherever you are on whatever platform you're on.
I actually am a big fan of SailGP. I find the races extremely entertaining. Also, the branding, the marketing, it's quite beautiful. But for those that haven't found you, can you tell us a little bit about SailGP? I know it's not, I guess, considered in the yachting sector, but you see it on all the yachting pages. Like everyone in the industry is really, really a fan. So yeah.
Well, I guess we have some really good yachting partners. BWA often bring super yachts to some of our premium locations. So if you're in the super yacht business or in the yacht business, there's a chance that you've been invited or you could come and take literally the front row seats to all the action. So we're not that different. Like it's the crowd that are interested in a boat race. It's just a boat race with a difference, and I think the key difference is it's fleet racing. It's one design boats. It's based on the concept of like speed matters. So the fastest boat wins. It's close to shore, so often it's venues are designed to be around sort of iconic urban areas, and we like to have big crowds who can almost like reach out and touch the boats as they pass. That's sort of like the long-term goal, and we're super high tech and sustainable. So it's all these things come together and bring a boat race that's full of jeopardy. The world's best athletes, there's a female on every boat in a variety of positions, from strategist to grinder all the way to driver. You'll notice I also used some words that are not sailing or nautical terms and closer to sort of, say, motorsport terms. And I think that's a really key point of why we're doing what we're doing. It's to bring in a greater awareness from people who don't understand sailing, who aren't in the yachting business. And, we honestly believe this is a product that's for them, and we're just trying to reduce the barriers of entry, the hurdles that prevent someone from going, okay, I could get into sailing, but I don't understand the terms. I don't understand nautical or maritime, or I'm not part of a yacht club. So it's really trying to, I guess, in a way, democratize, like make it available for everyone. And then, as the fans come in, I think a really big job for my team is to go, okay, there's the generalist fan who just loves the racing. And then there's the deep, deep core, hardcore fan who loves, to know everything about the boats and everything about the sailors. So we're really trying to pull two worlds together. And it's not an exclusive world. That's, I get, and I guess that's the point. It's a really inclusive world.
I actually would have never thought that from watching them. It looks so, so extremely hard that it doesn't feel inviting that, you know what, I'm gonna be able to do this. It looks dangerous. When there's crashing and anything else, it seems like you would have to have so much training to be able to ever go on board.
Yeah, just to be clear, it's, I guess, when we're talking about inviting people, it's like to be fans of the sport.
Oh, okay.
Rather than onto the boats. That, to get onto one of these boats, you genuinely need to be an elite athlete. There's a pipeline that's come from sort of moths or wasps, but most of these sailors are genuinely Olympians, sailed in America's Cups, come from different match racing classes. So they are the best of the best, the elite. And it's, I guess it's a controlled, jeopardy involved in the racing. They really know what they're doing, and they're performing, right on the edge of I guess extreme action.
I actually, that's what I thought, because luckily now with social media that a lot of people now have with the smartphone are broadcasters, right? And thankfully I find them because they are reposted on the SailGP pages. And there was one girl that was documenting everything from this is how we wake up, this is how we do everything. And I finally sort of like got an idea of like, oh, this is what the athletes look like. This is what really a rigorous day for them actually, because even though yeah, the sails do come close to you, you still see them. There's a huge detachment like from you to the boats. It's quite incredible. I actually found SailGP by chance. I was walking in New York. I heard the screams on the bay, and then all of a sudden I was like, what is this race that I had know nothing about? And then I went on the website, and you have a lot of races. How many do you do a year?
We do, next year we're going into 14 races. So it's around the globe. We start in Dubai in, I think, November 23rd. That weekend we'll have 7 races, according to, the wind and the condition. And it goes all the way through then to finish in Abu Dhabi, in the November of the next year, so 2025. And we go from, and I guess this is where sustainability comes in. We really think about each venue and how to get there in the most direct way. So we really do follow the sun. That's one thing, but we go in a direction that means that our carbon footprint for travel is completely minimized. So it's shipped from Dubai, we go to Auckland, then Sydney. Sydney Harbour is like spectacular. Auckland is going to be absolutely amazing. New Zealanders love to sail. And then we head back to LA, San Francisco. We go to Rio, again, another spectacular location. New York, and then we head into the European circuit and end up, in Abu Dhabi, back in the Middle East. So it's very thoughtful the way we get from one location to the next. And then I guess we do have one event in Geneva, which is in a lake, a very, very big lake. So that's that again comes with its logistical difficulties, but we've done it before. We were in Chicago last year, and it was very close to the city, very touchable, big crowds, just not enough wind in Chicago last year, but the year before it was cracking. So it's the nature of sailing, isn't it? We're all dependent on the wind, and the wind doesn't do what we say when we want it.
Oh, so sad. Chicago let us down. Maybe we should take away the tagline they have been very proud of.
Yes.
I was gutted when I saw the LA race had, because I'm based in LA, had passed. How did I not hear about this? And that's when I started to like visually follow the races. But I want to know more about what you do. Can you tell us a little bit about your daily task or what your job role looks like?
So I manage a team of people, very few of them sailors. We have very specific, sailing experts, obviously. We have, we basically set the strategy for how you hear about or the awareness for SailGP. And then we make the broadcast ourselves. So the broadcast is very, very technologically advanced. We work with SailGP Technologies team and technology team to make sure that we can use, next season we'll be using a little bit of AI for where you can't get cameras and you can't get cameramen. We'll be using sort of AI cameras, and I guess that's enabled because we have a really strong partner in Oracle. So we're able to do, each boat sends up about 48 billion, around about 48 billion points of data each weekend. And that's like crunched in the crowd, and Oracle Insights turn that into information that can run things like an AI camera. We genuinely use it for anomaly detection. So ensuring that if there is something going wrong on a boat, we're the first to know, and it's dealt with very, very quickly. So yeah, we work very closely with technology teams for cameras, ensuring that the graphics are correct, ensuring we have an augmented reality field of play. So you'll see live line graphics where the ladder lines are there, the boundary lines are there, ley lines and all that sort of stuff. That's all augmented. And so the broadcast team do really have a strong connection with the technology team in building all that out. The social team work like hand in hand with our marketing and communications team to make sure the content we put out is appropriate, but also they're quite a disruptive group. We put out a lot of very, very cool and interesting content. We've had huge viral videos this year. So we had one that hit like, I think it's at 93 million for one clip on the New Zealand team.
The Americans? Oh no, I thought it was the Americans when they capsized.
Oh yeah, that was another huge one. We had one with a French team, 53 million. You go on our YouTube page. Our YouTube page is super interesting because it's the place where actually our content team are working with the social team to figure out like, how do we just get people in the door to understand, to follow the sport? And then once they're in there, what pieces of information do they need? What content do they need to stay in our environment and ecosystem? How do we attach that to our website, our app, our doc, which is the fan loyalty program? So those teams are, working constantly strategically. Where are we going in the future? The production team is, we've just finished budgeting. It's a huge task with a sport like ours, and we do everything in house too. So we do as much as we can in house. Obviously, we have our vendors that are super, super important to us, but we try and do everything in house. And then distribution is about getting CBS to, program us at the right times, do negotiations for deals, broadcast rights, follow-ups. How can we get broadcasters to do more? So it's all that sort of stuff. Like it's a never-ending beast that we're sort of feeding, and it is off season, but there's no day off. We just announced the Canadian team. Canada has a new ownership group. They bought the team. One of our star drivers has been left the team, and the British driver has moved over to the Canadian team. So there's a lot of chatter about that. The fans want to know why. They want to dig in.
I was going to say, that sounds like a lot of drama.
Yeah, it's a transfer window. We now have a transfer window in SailGP, or a transfer fee even. So, we've got more announcements coming up. The launch of season 5, Abu Dhabi launch. Brazil just announced their team just not so long ago. They've got a female driver, Martina. And, these things are just constantly evolving. And as you get more fans, you've got to feed them more information. So there's that constant process going on. It's not just about the events. It's about filling the time or making sure people are satisfied between the events.
Yeah, of course. Especially when you realize that you just missed one, you dive into like every other page, because there's also multiple SailGP pages. It's like, at least on Instagram, where I get the majority of my video content. I know that you have different teams in different countries, so they'll focus on their own. I was going to ask, how many teams are there?
There are 12 teams next season.
How many?
there's 11 teams next season, but 12 teams want to be on the start line. So there's a lot of discussion about that. Will a team be dropped? Will so the drama in that is again, it's just fueling the concept of like there's 12 teams who want to be on the start line and 11 boats. So that again, it's like it's becoming very popular. Everyone wants to be on the start lines. So we haven't got a resolution as of yet of which team won't
Well,
be in Dubai.
it's a very complete sport, especially how you're talking and telling us not only are the athletic, it's actually beautiful to watch. It's close to the shore, so you actually get a taste of it, not being at other sailing events when you know that, oh, they're way over there. So you're actually watching digitally instead of in person where you are on the line. You have a sustainability goal, you're very strategic how you're moving around the globe. So it's really fascinating.
We also build the boats ourselves. So we have boat
Oh,
builders in Southampton, and like that's the other race. Will they get can they get a boat 12 on the line in time? So it's like the whole company is yeah, like you said, it's very diverse, but it's interesting on so many different levels.
yep.
And the boat building operation is just fascinating. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
And it doesn't escape me, or I think anyone else that's watching, the level of technology and AI that you have there, because from moving up the lines, or it makes it so user friendly for someone watching and understanding, and someone that's coming in new, it is easier. There's so many sports where you actually have to really dive in to be able to appreciate and enjoy, even if you don't enjoy the whole thing. Here, you can actually just enjoy. So how did you get pulled into SailGP? Like, what was your background before?
I'm not a sailor. I think I've been on a few boats where I maybe had a gin and tonic in my hand. That's about it. I was working at Meta, and I was working in the US, and it's sort of like one of those weird stories similar to yours. I was in New York, and I heard from a colleague that SailGP, an event called SailGP was coming, and they were like going live on Meta, and did we want to come and have a look and see the race? And I'm like, I'm up for anything. So I'm like, yeah, let's go and do it. Sounds like, just to be on the water. And you weren't just on the water, you were on a boat on the water watching the racing. And it just felt like an unmissable opportunity. So never heard of it before. It was the first season of SailGP. I'm not a traditional fan of sailing or yachting or anything like that. But once I saw it on the boat, I was like, oh, this is very, very cool event. And this has nothing but potential for long term. Ironically, COVID hits, and like I think it was like 3 years later or 3 years later, I had a recruiter call and said, oh, there's this new developing sport and they really want someone to come in and help with the broadcast, and and the timing was perfect, and I just had in my mind this amazing event had so much potential to be really, really big, and I just wanted to be involved in it. So I packed up my family from New York and moved to London, and took the role, and it's been just like a rocket ship ever since. We're just taken off.
That's amazing. Actually, how long has SailGP been around?
I believe it started in 2019 was the first season. So I think it was launched in 2018, and we're going into season 5. So obviously the COVID years stretched out season 2 for a very
I
long
think I
time.
saw the first one then.
Oh,
Where
you
you
must have been
said
in New
that.
York when I was. I was on one of the boats.
I believe
So,
yes, I saw 2019 because I was there when COVID hit, and I'm assuming 2020 you didn't have one, or you did.
well, I wasn't there. I wasn't at the company then. I started at the company 2 years ago. So
Oh,
I've been there for season 3 and season 4, which we just completed, and we're heading into season 5. So season 2, I don't believe went to New York. We're in season 3, didn't go to New York. We're in New York in June. So we were on Governor's Island. We had the Statue of Liberty is our,
Yeah.
you know,
I
iconic
have that
location.
picture on my Instagram of it passing the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so I
Yeah.
didn't learn about it so late. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, no, it's very new. I call it a startup. I'm sure people in the company don't want me to call it a startup, but I call it a startup from a very positive sense of the word, is
Yeah.
like it's growing, and it's growing at rates that you wouldn't believe unless it had unless you had a group of people whose entire desire was to move this thing forward. Often when you get to the established business stage, everyone's just doing their jobs, but this is like a
Yeah.
movement of people to make this thing very, very successful.
It becomes very exciting. I don't see it as a negative concept either. I know it hasn't been then that long, but is there something that you could say, at least so far, that's been your biggest accomplishment, or a day, an
I
event that
mean,
you think?
look, we're very, very proud of the broadcast. The broadcast is really next level, and it becomes easier and easier to, negotiate broadcast rights. And there's a really good example just recently where a broadcaster whose fan base is not in sailing, is in motorsport, said to us, look, we don't really have a sailing, fan base, but the broadcast is so good that it would really fit our slate of programming. And that's like music to my ears. Like, this is just such a massive tick of approval. And, it's won awards. Liveline, which the SailGP technology team own and work on, they're using that Liveline technology in other sailing events now. So I think, I just think the progress in such a short period of time has been incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. I would have never thought that it was so new, because it just looks so professional, so well established. Definitely like a goal for other events to have. Yeah, I love the broadcasting. It's quite amazing to see how you guys really get in there, get into the action. And I don't think that's really that easy to have to capture, the intimate movements of the athletes from far away. So like everybody that wants to be part of this event feels represented in a way, like for the ones that want to be on the yachts, for the ones that be offshore, the ones that want to think of the athletes or look at the beautiful scenery that you were talking about. So I think you're talking to so many different audiences, and I think it's so well put together.
Yeah, and it's like fun by the water. We have, celebs who come. We have offer a six sailor, experience. We had Nate Burleson from CBS come, and he went flying in the boat. He went in the helicopter to watch how we put the whole broadcast together. And I think the other thing is, it's sort of pointing back to what you said earlier, is our socials have gone wild. And that's, again, it's just everyone working together. We have good departmental flow. Everyone's genuinely got everyone else's back. And that's the important part about like running a department of this size, is the team they're the ones creating the success. I'm just, the guiding light to make sure that that they're heading in the right direction. And that's really what my role is to make sure everyone's on the right path and it's aligned with the bigger principles or the larger goals of the business.
That's so exciting. I would love to be one of the people that are strapped in there, but then maybe the thing all topples because you have to have some balance, and I wouldn't be able to do anything. Can you tell me something that maybe people wouldn't find about you on LinkedIn? Basically, if I run into you in a networking event, how can I get a good rapport with you?
About me, I mean, I've lived and resided in 6 different countries. This is London is my 6th. I lived in I grew up in Australia, where that's really obvious, the accent. Even though I don't believe I have an accent, yes, I'm Australian.
I haven't heard anything.
And then moved to China for work, then moved to India for work, moved to Austria, Salzburg in Austria for work, and New York before moving to London. So my family and I are just very keen to live life on the edge, I guess, and take those opportunities as they come and just really embrace them and what they mean. But you won't see that on my LinkedIn because I couldn't be bothered putting everything in there. So I think it's it looks like I started my career in Beijing Olympics, but it actually started years beforehand in I
Right,
think.
you were working in the Olympics. I think that's how we connected because we knew someone or in the same department, but you guys didn't coincide, I think it
Yeah.
was. Wow, the I was not expecting the countries that you mentioned because when people say that, I could easily be like, oh yes, I was in, I don't know, England, France, Italy. They're different, but they're sort of close together. But
Mhm.
yeah, you were definitely covering the globe. Um, I know, again, it's not that you've been the longest in sailing, but even though you have done so much in it. So this question is more like professionally, what advice would you give yourself if you were starting up your professional journey again tomorrow?
Uh, I mean, the advice is really clear. It's work hard and be kind. There's no other advice. It's a small industry, whether it's the yachting industry or the broadcast industry or even the social industry. Even having worked globally, it's small. It's, your niche or your subject matter expertise is often quite small. And the further up you get in the industry, any industry is don't burn bridges. The person you were mean to last week could be your boss next week. So be kind, and working hard is the only way I really know how to get ahead. But I guess I've started to change that. And after working at Facebook and Meta for those years, I've turned it into like work smart. There are things you can do now that will get you further faster, especially as a female, than just always being on the grind, being perfect, filling in, being the one who fills in all the spreadsheets, takes all the notes. There's a way of doing those things that perhaps can allow you to work smarter and get ahead faster. And that's the important thing. That delineation, I think I should say, has been really important to me. Is like work smart. Don't just do the grind because you think the grind is going to get you to the next level.
That's really great advice. And completely applicable to absolutely anyone. And in yachting, it's such a small industry that we should always be kind. But if you don't want to be kind, at least think ahead and see the big picture that that person that you weren't kind to is now somehow influencing your professional path and you
Yeah.
didn't see it coming. So I find that lesson actually tech because I think it's easier to have a meteor success all of a sudden with the startup being picked up or something like that. So people are used to like, oh, that could be my boss. So I think there's more awareness of that could actually happen. I was last week at the show, and it's interesting how many of them have shifted into that mentality, and many are still stuck in the past that look you up and down, and you just smile inside, thinking you have no idea what I do, but this will not get you far because people remember who are kind to them, and when they rise, they want to pull those people up. I love what you said about the grind. I've always been such a hard worker and grinding, but I may have not gone to that illumination as you did of work smarter. I just didn't have the time. So prioritizing and not saying yes to everything just became mandatory. I know we're really short on time now, but I wanted to know if there was anything else that you wanted to share with us, maybe where do we follow or anything before we wrap up.
I would say one thing that's really, really important to us is the female audience. And we really want to grow SailGP in a way that's like looking at equity, looking at ensuring that female viewers are being catered for, that, female viewers who come in want to buy the merchandise, want to buy a ticket, want to bring their boyfriend, husband, father, all that sort of thing to the events. So the more female viewers we have, the more females who come in and comment on our social content, who watch the broadcast, the more upswell we have to make that a reality. On the boats at the moment, there's one female. And the leadership team, it's 50-50 at SailGP within the organization. And, we'd hope that one day comes, translates into the boats, and one day that really transitions into the viewership of our both broadcast and social content. And we're not quite yet, there yet, but that's what we aim for and that's what we want.
That's really great that at least this one, and the fact that you have in the leadership 50-50, that's remarkable. But I actually didn't know it was only one female on the boats, because the woman that I became obsessed with, like the athlete that I became obsessed with, the female showing us the behind the scenes. So because I saw so much of her, I assumed that there were more. So
There
that's
are,
actually great.
yeah, there's a pipeline. There's a women's pathway program. So for every boat, and they're not all, as I said earlier, it's they're in key positions in the boat now. So it's about the quality of the position of the boat they're in, and the quality of their athleticism and knowledge and sailing know-how. But there's got to be that second level of, is there another athlete who could step into that position? Would that athlete be female also? Who's behind them and who's behind them? So you're going to have a pipeline of people trained in the right areas and at the elite level. And for that, there's still a lot of work to do. But yes, there are female athletes. There's usually 2 per team, and then there's usually a pipeline of females like behind them as well.
That's really great. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm now a bigger fan. When is you said the next race was in November, Dubai, right?
Yes, November 23rd.
Oh, so how can we follow along?
You can watch on the broadcast go to our website, find out where to watch if you're in a broadcast. If you're in Dubai, buy tickets, website, SailGP.com. Follow us on social. We'll be documenting the entire process the entire time. We're trying to build like profiles of our athletes, so follow the athletes as well in their journey. But our website has everything that you need.
Well, great. Well, thank you for all of that information. I'm gonna go back to the website because I feel now there has been a lot of changes. I am, since watching the Olympics and becoming obsessed with a couple of athletes, I cannot wait to actually move that into SailGP, because now it happens more times in the year and I don't have to wait that long for the next Olympics. Thank you so much for taking the time to being here, and I cannot wait to watch your next race and stay and follow along.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to Yacht Femme. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and comment. Your comment will help us reach a broader audience. And don't miss the next episode. Bye!